And why should you care about the 2020 US Census? Because there is $900 billion at stake, and it's going to determine how much funding goes to each and every state. Aisha, Stacey Abrams is playing a huge role in this.
Yeah, Ron, so this time Stacey Abrams has launched another non-for-profit group. This one is called Fair Count. The goal of Fair Count is to get everyone in that hard-to-count Georgia population counted as part of the census. But as Hope Ford found out, Hope, this is going to be no easy feat for Stacey Abrams in this group.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. There's a lot of things that she's working on, so we have a little bit of a look at how this is going to break down.
I have founded Fair Count, a nonprofit organization that will reach out to hard-to-count populations and ensure that all Georgia voices are heard.
Okay, stop. What's a hard-to-count population? It's defined as people who generally can't, won't, or don't respond to a census. That includes the homeless, LGBTQ communities, people with mental disabilities, racial and ethnic minorities, non-English speakers, young children, and undocumented immigrants. Hard-to-count populations are larger in the South and East, and for Georgia, the hard-to-count neighborhoods includes 22% of the state. That's nearly 2.3 million people. The U.S. Census Bureau acknowledged there's a problem and released a blueprint on how to count everyone ahead of the 2020 census. The Bureau recommends using social media and paid advertising to reach more people. It suggests updating the census form and addressing language barriers by mailing out documents in Spanish and having assistance in 12 non-English languages. The blueprint suggests hiring people who live in hard-to-count communities to help and includes steps for how to reach people who are homeless, poor, don't trust the government, or who live in remote areas. If a higher percentage of people in Georgia completed the census, it could bring in money for healthcare, education, and could redraw lines for school zones and change the amount of seats Georgia has in Congress. The key phrase there is if a high enough percentage completes it.
And there's something else here, the citizenship question on the U.S. Census. So the Trump administration wants to add a question to the census that will say, quote, is this person a citizen of the U.S.? Now, that question hasn't been on the census since 1950.
All right, so what does actually happen if the Supreme Court allows this very controversial question to be added?
So some people argue that a large portion of people just won't respond. So that'll kind of skew the results of who actually lives in the country. But the administration argues that this would actually help better enforce the Voting Rights Act.
All right, very important topic. Thank you, Hope.